Hello guys and welcome back to Car Obsession. Now in life they say you get what you pay for. In fact, it's a phrase I've used quite a few times on the channel, but how true is that? Well, to find out, I've got two shampoos from Halfords. The one in my right hand is the cheapest one you can buy from Halfords, and it is their very own car shampoo, which is £3.49 for 500ml. Better still, at the time of filming, you can have this for £2.51 for 500ml because it has been reduced. Surely it can't be any good for that price. I mean, that's got to be too good to be true. On the other end of the spectrum, in my left hand, we have the Chemical Guys HydroSuds Ceramic Car Wash Soap. Quite a long name, that's probably why it costs so much. So this is of course an American product, therefore this is 473 millilitres because it has been translated from 16 ounces. Well, not translated, converted, you know what I mean. Now this is expensive. This would normally cost you £25.79 if I'm not mistaken, but at the time of filming I bought this for £23.21 because this is also reduced at Halfords. So the idea is to see how much value, how much extra performance you're getting from such an expensive shampoo. Now price is one thing, but what about price per litre? This is where it really hammers the point home in regards to value, because for a litre of this, you simply times £3.49 by 2 and you get £6.98. And that's under £7 for a litre of car shampoo. Now I just want to stop myself there. Some of you may have spotted that this bottle is actually a litre and not 500 millilitres. Now when I went into Halfords, this was the smallest bottle they had on the shelf, so I assumed it was 500ml. Although I did think it was a little bit too big. Anyway, that also makes my maths a bit redundant because, as you can see, you can buy this as a litre and that would cost you £5. However, at the time of filming, it's currently reduced to £4.50. That's very impressive. I don't know if this is going to be any good. I've never used it, so we'll have to wait and see. On the other hand, if you wanted a litre of this, you're looking at a wallet busting £54.52. for a litre of car shampoo. Ridiculous. This better be good. So I've covered price per litre, but what about price per wash? This could be the area that is actually the most important to you. So for the Halfords Homebrew, I'm resorting to my notes, so forgive me. There's a lot of information and calculations here. So Halfords advise you should use 40 millilitres to 10 litres of water. Now, if I were to use a 2-bucket method, these buckets are actually 20 litres, and I'd probably want to go more towards 20 than 10. So if you're using 20 litres, then you'd be using 80 millilitres of product. But if you're using the 40, as stated by Halfords, you're looking at 28p per wash. Very, very reasonable. I'm sure you would agree. Now, for the Chemical Guys, this is where the calculations get a bit skewed because, for starters, they say that you should use 3 to 4 gallons of water, but this is American, so it's going to be US gallons. So this is where things get a little bit higgledy-piggledy. So if these calculations are wrong, let me know. But to translate that size to cross over the Atlantic, I would say you're looking to add, well, they say use an ounce of this, a fluid ounce, which by my calculations is 29.57 millilitres, so let's call it 30ml to make life easier. And if they're saying to use it for 3 to 4 gallons of water, I make it out to be 11.35 to 15.14 litres of water. That means per wash, this is a staggering £1.61 per wash. Now, one thing I didn't say in the Halfords one, in theory, this should be good for 12.5 washes, 12.5 washes, although what are you going to do with half a wash? Not unless you're doing a really small car, perhaps, smart car. This, in theory, should be good for about 15 to 16 washes, depending on application. Now, as much as you can put this in a bucket, you can also put this into a snow foam cannon, which is what I'm going to do for 2 good reasons. The first of which is because, well, I haven't got enough buckets to make this fair because I don't want any cross-contamination. And secondly, I in recent times, I much prefer spraying the shampoo onto the car. Therefore, you've only got one bucket, you've got one less bucket to fill up, and I just prefer that method. So spray the shampoo onto the car, then you have just one bucket for rinsing. Anyway, that is far too much talking. Let's get on to some action.
Now, before making any contact with the paintwork with the wash mitt, of course I pre-washed the car using AutoSmart G101 and Stiana Gloss Snow Foam. Also, just a quick disclaimer, this is not a paid video, sponsored, or an ad. I bought both of these products with my hard-earned cash.
So I've rinsed out my snow foam cannon, ready for the product. Now, the instructions for the HydroSuds doesn't actually give you any clear instructions for putting it into a snow foam cannon. So this is going to be a bit of guesswork. One thing it does say though, to use 1 or 2 fluid ounces. So you could be increasing the cost of your wash by double. So I'm going to go for 1 fluid ounce because I don't think I'm going to need to fill this up to cover that Audi A3. So yeah, let's go for 30 mils. Right, there's a 30 mark. There we go, it's 30. Now, one thing I do like about this is that you have this nozzle here, so it's easier to pour out. Look, I'm just wasting product, but yeah, it makes it easier to apply. That is good thinking. So this is an Autoglim snow foam cannon, which is 800 ml. So what I'm going to do is, well, I'm going to plonk that in like so. I'm going to put in about, if I put in, I'm going to go for about 450 or 500. Right, just give this a little straight mixture product in. And that's ready to go. And I will use that for, well, I'm stood here, aren't I? Actually, no, I think I'd rather do the snow. I'm gonna use the HydroSuds on the right-hand side of the car, or the offside, driver's side. Now, before you comment, yes, I've got 2 separate wash mitts to try and make this as fair as possible. So of course, for the left-hand side of the car, the near side, the passenger side, this is where the Halfords shampoo will be putting in its case of whether or not it is a good car shampoo. Speaking of which, I've got roughly 10 litres of water here. It's a 20 litre bucket, which is filled about halfway. Right, I think this is berry scented according to the listing on their website. Oh, that is quite nice actually. Quite nice actually. Not the greatest of suds, but what I'm going to do is just agitate it a little bit with yeah, the foaming isn't exactly amazing. So as always, starting top down. Now, what I'm personally looking for is, of course, how well the shampoo works, how effective it is, but also the lubrication, because that's really important when it comes to car shampoos. I love a car shampoo that makes it feel as if the wash mitt is gliding across the paintwork. And shout out here to Stiana Gloss. My normal go-to shampoo is Stiana Gloss's Bubble Oil, and that is silky when it comes to gliding a wash mitt over the car's paint. This Halfords product feels pretty good. Feels like it's got a good amount of lubrication. You can't really smell it when you're applying it. The scent is more subtle. It's not quite as in your face. But yeah, a good smelling product doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good one. Right, let's do what I'd call the waistline. Yeah, not the foamiest of shampoos, I'm sure you would have seen, but I would say it serves its purpose. Nothing groundbreaking, but hey, for £3.49, what are you going to expect? So, that's the Halfords side done. Looking respectable. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's move you back a bit and give the car a quick rinse off. Yeah, there's not much in the way of suds that being rinsed off this, so really and truly, I think you'd probably want to use more product, which kind of negates the idea of it, because the idea is that it's meant to be good value, but yeah, 40 ml in 10 litres of water doesn't quite seem enough to me. The key question is, though, has it cleaned the car? Well, from what I can see, it has. So I thought I saw a dirty bit, but it's just a bit flat. This car could definitely benefit from a machine polish. It's going to have a hand polish today, but not a machine polish. That smells amazing, by the way. So remember I said I put about 500 ml in? So what I've got left is, let's get that tilted properly. I've only used about 100 ml there. Crazy. Granted, I've only done half a car, but still, only used about 100 ml. Doesn't feel quite as silky on the wash mitt. Also, I'm starting with the bonnet. Why am I doing that? It needs to be here on the roof area. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have the same lubrication, the same silky feeling going over the surface as the Halfords shampoo. One thing I would say though, and this might be a mere coincidence, right, let's flip the wash mitt over. The gloss this is leaving behind looks stronger and richer. I don't know, it could just be the lighting, but this looks like it's leaving behind a nicer gloss, and it's definitely a bit more suddy. Right, where's my rinse bucket? There we go. Now, for the sake of argument, later on in the video, I will show you a clip with the product applied in a bucket, so you can get an idea of how much it suds up when it's in a bucket, but yeah, it doesn't feel quite as silky over the surface, but I do think it's leaving behind a nicer finish. And it should do for the price, really, shouldn't it? Right, let's do the waistline. I'd definitely say the HydroSuds leaves behind a nicer gloss than the Halfords car shampoo. But the question is this going to leave a beading behaviour once it's rinsed off? Well, let's find out. Let's rinse this off. Now, in regard to cleaning capabilities, they've both cleaned the car, which is really the bare minimum you'd expect from a shampoo. I'd say neither's been particularly outstanding. They've served their purpose. Oh yeah, loads of beading. Right, so you zoomed in on the offside front wing. Okay, ready? Nothing, just sheeting, nothing's going on. There's no hydrophobic behaviour. That is pants. So, I'm going to give HydroSuds a second chance. What I'm going to do is I've still got quite a lot of the mixture left over in my snow foam cannon. If I just demonstrate here. Oh, hang on a minute. I've still got a fair bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turbocharge it with a second dollop. So this has now 60 millilitres in here instead of 30. Right, I'm just going to do the bonnet and the front wing. Don't get me wrong, it looks nice and glossy. The black looks pretty terrific. But is it beading? No, it's not. Yeah, flat as a pancake that's been run over several times. Now, to give you an idea of what I'm looking for here, I'm gonna get a rinse aid. This is Stiana Gloss Glatt. So as you can see, no hydrophobic nature. Spray listen to the panel. That was a good shot. Annoyingly, not caught on camera. Oh, hello, hello. That's what we should be looking for. That's what we should be getting with the HydroSuds. That is what you call beading, chemical guys. And that was achieved using a very good value rinse aid, which I would argue is far better value than the HydroSuds. Granted, the HydroSuds is a shampoo and that is just a rinse aid, but look at that behaviour. And if we go to the bonnet, which hasn't had the glatt applied, nothing, nada, zilch, flat, rubbish. HydroSuds, more like hydro disappointment. And it's mad to think that they think they can justify charging such a large amount for a product, which, I'm sorry, it doesn't work. If I've applied it wrong, then fair enough. But as I mentioned earlier, or may have mentioned earlier, I watched another video of someone else trying this product out and it didn't bead for him either. So I don't think the application is the problem. Yeah, that's really disappointing. And I should have said it earlier, but this isn't a paid advert. I paid for both products with my own money and I feel hard done by. Going for the HydroSuds, paying for it, because yeah, honestly, it feels like money wasted. So to go back to what I said earlier, do you always get what you pay for? No, you don't. So time to end the video. I do hope you have enjoyed it or found it useful. If so, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. Perhaps you've had a similar experience with this product, or you've had a better experience and maybe you think I'm doing it wrong. I don't think how I could be doing it wrong, if I'm going to be honest with you, but I'm open to suggestions and to conversations and discussions. But of course, make sure it is respectful. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time, guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.